Looking forward to a big game. Team's coming off a really nice win. Proud of our guys. We didn't play great against Wake, but competed hard, especially down the stretch, and just kind of hung in there. It was a game where we couldn't kind of ever get the lead. We had a couple chances to take the lead throughout the game and couldn't get them, and then just kept playing and made good things happen late and found a way to win. Certainly now we got our hands full with a very talented North Carolina team. Experienced, big and strong. Jackson and Barry are two terrific guards, and Meeks and Hicks are really good inside. We know they'll play with great pace, and certainly rebounding and transition defense are always important when you play a North Carolina team.
Coach, down 10 points with less than 5 minutes to go on the road. Is this team playing with a belief and confidence that you've seen before?
I like this team. I think we just kept playing, and we were fortunate to make a few plays. Certainly defensively, we stole the ball a couple times, and we were able to string together a couple baskets in a row, which had been difficult throughout the game. So, yeah, I think our team feels good about the way we're playing and competing, and we have more depth. So maybe that's helping us a little bit later in games.
Justin Jackson has always been a nice role player for them. All of the scoring has typically gone through the big guys, but now that he's leading them in scoring, is the offense any different, or do they still try to get it?
It's not a lot different. I think
through the post?
He's making plays. I still think they like to throw the ball inside. They've got big, strong guys that can score, and they still run their system that ends with two post players down low. But I do think Jackson is being more aggressive. I think he's playing with great confidence. He's shooting the ball better from three this year, and he's a really talented guy. And when you play at North Carolina, you're going to play with a bunch of guys that are pros, and as a younger player, you're going to wait your turn a little bit in terms of being the guy to score. And I think it's he and Joel Berry are both really good players that are have kind of waited their turn and are now taking advantage of opportunities.
Is he hard to defend because of his length?
Yeah, he's hard to defend because he's also smart. He can put it on the ground, and he has a very good floater that he shoots at the mid-range level. And anytime you have a mid-range shot with size like that, and then you have a three-point shot when you're making it, it becomes a really tough matchup for people. And he's kind of always been pretty good at the floater, but now he's really improved his three-point shot. And he's just more aggressive. He's older, he's bigger, he's stronger, and he's really developed into a very good player.
Will Dante defend him for the most part?
He will a good bit. I think there'll be some different matchups throughout the course of the game, but they'll match up some against each other for sure.
How do you?
You see North Carolina lose on the road. You see Duke lose on the road. You get a big road win. It's just maybe one of those years. I mean, it's always hard on the road, but maybe even this year, you'll look back and really savor that win at Wake.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's playing in this league on the road is tough, and certainly with the quality of teams in this league this year, there's more good teams I think than there's been probably in my 7 years. The depth really makes it tough, and I think that road wins are going to be hard to come by. And if you get one, you're going to feel really good about it. And that's what you're trying to do as a coach, is put your team in a position last 8 minutes of a game to have a chance to win a game like that. And we really weren't in great position with 8 minutes to go, but we kept playing and found a way in the last 4 minutes to play our way into a win.
Going back to your guys that, hey, this is an opportunity now with North Carolina coming in, the momentum that you've got going, that this could really be a stepping stone to a big season?
No, it's just another game. I mean, it's another game against one of the name brands in college basketball, but it's still only worth one, and I don't know, there's 16 after that. So I mean, there's just so many that you just got to be ready to play and try to get your best team out there, get your guys ready to go, be excited about the opportunity. We're certainly looking forward to being back in Littlejohn, hopefully having a great crowd and trying to play well. And certainly we're enjoying the momentum that we've built here the last month or so. And we've played good basketball. We've competed hard. When we haven't played as well basketball-wise, our effort has been good, and we've found ways to make some tough plays or big shots and win games that are tough to win. And we beat some good teams along the way. So hopefully it gives us confidence, but I'm not going to make this game into more than it is. It's a game against a very good team, and but there's 16 more after it.
Brad, what does it say about your team's resolve? You came back the other day and won, did it at South Carolina. Even in the 2 games you lost, your team fought back and got themselves in position to win the game. What's it say about this team's resolve, even when they're down late?
I think we're an older group, and so, we're not going to give in. We're going to keep fighting and playing, and hopefully we've done that a good bit here. But I do think, the fact that we have more weapons to score, sometimes you just kind of keep playing until somebody starts making a play or two. And when somebody, all of a sudden makes a basket or two and kind of gets your team a different momentum, it changes things. And again, I've talked about the value of three-point shooting and having more three-point shooters, and the way college basketball is, no lead's really big enough. You just got to keep playing. And I think our team is a team, because we have more scoring, we can get hot at any point. It just, in the Wake Forest game, it happened to be in the last 4 minutes. A little bit in the South Carolina game. I thought we played better than in the first half than the score indicated. It felt like we were ahead by more than 4. Now, we didn't play as well in the second half. And again, South Carolina had a lot to do with that. But we did keep playing hard, and we competed, and we got a couple ugly baskets when you just toughen things up, and we got fouled and made free throws and did some things that you just have to do to win. And then, Marquise in that game also got hot and made a couple big shots. And, you look up, and if you're defending and still making it hard for them, you're going to have a chance late, and we did that.
Going back to matchups, how well do you think City will be able to defend and rebound against Meeks down on the blocks, and how critical is it to have a few games under Elijah's belt as far as
well, it
matching up in
is,
the front
because
court?
you're going to need front court depth in this league. Jonathan Collins gave us a lot of problems. I mean, he's a really good player, and I'm sure North Carolina will try to punch the ball inside against us as well. And our bigs have got to work to limit the amount of touches they get in there. And then when they do get some, they're going to have to defend them and make them shoot over top. And we've got to do a good job of getting rebounds, not letting them get putbacks. We've got to get back in transition so they don't get layups. We've got to make them make post moves over top of people when they're in tough situations.
What do those 2 guys have to do to stay out of foul trouble?
Just play hard, play smart. I mean, you're in a contact position. It's difficult to play teams that post the ball and play physically in college basketball and not have some fouls. I mean, it's just the nature of your position. You're involved in so much contact, especially in a game where teams are posting. And so, if you're not having some contact, you're probably going to be in some trouble. But you got to make sure that you don't have the over-the-back calls, you don't have an illegal screen, you don't have some of the sillier fouls that get you in trouble. So we got to just be smart about those.
You won 9 in a row now. Last season you won 5 in a row, including a few top 15 teams included in that stretch. How does this run compare to the one last year?
I don't know. I haven't thought about it a lot like that. I just want our team playing well. I want us competing. Those wins last year were terrific. It was a great streak because our team desperately needed it at the time. This year I'm more concerned with our team just building and getting better and assimilating different guys into lineups and working guys that are that maybe haven't played, like Elijah, getting him into the flow of our team. And so it's been more concern of doing those kind of things and just trying to play well and compete hard and see where that takes us. Right now it's put us in a good position, but a long way to go.
Brad, you mentioned transition. Usually North Carolina is, not just good after a missed basket, they're really good
Right.
after a made basket.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of the key forcing them into a half-court game?
Not necessarily. No, we're not going to play slow. We've had to play slow against teams in the past, sometimes just, for lack of manpower and depth. But our team this year is good in transition. We need to play in the open court when we can. We'll push the ball in some makes too. We're not going to just walk it up. I just think you have to be smart. You have to be opportunistic. There are times you need to go, and there are times you need to settle down and value a possession and make sure that you make tempo a priority in the game. But we're not going to just walk it up and try to face their defense 5-on-5 all the time. We need to get into the open court and get into some transition situations and play and use some of our depth as well.
When you had, so many scores like you were talking about earlier, how delicate is it to manage or balance, like, what is too quick of a shot, when you gotta get Jerron?
It is. Yeah, it is. It's hard. I think, you know, it's hard because the players playing the game are confident in their abilities. And so they want to make plays. They want to naturally go out and do what they've done for most of their lives. And as a coach, it's a very fine line between harnessing that, you know, and letting a Marquise Reed go make plays when you need them. You know, it's not easy to just say, all right, now you can go. Now we don't want you to. It's educating them throughout the course of the season and practices like, hey, I don't like that shot, and here's why. Some of it has to do with tempo. Some of it has to do with maybe we haven't scored a couple times in a row and we need an inside touch or a paint touch first. But at the same time, I think, you know, you got to give your guys some freedom to do some things if you want them to play loose and you want them to make plays like they did against Wake Forest and maybe South Carolina. You got to let guys shoot a couple shots and feel good about what they're doing. And I think our guys are walking that tightrope pretty well right now.
Building off of that, what about Jerron? You know, would you like to see him be maybe a little more aggressive? Is that
Not really. I don't think he hasn't been aggressive. I just think you know, he hasn't made his three, which I'm not worried about that. I think he's played very efficiently in a lot of ways. I thought in the first half of the Wake game, he was really good, and they switched. He mismatched and scored. They went back to big. He drove by his guy and scored. He drove by his guy and got fouled. He played well. Now, what happens with our team, though, is we have more guys that can score, and we're not walking the ball up, and we're not calling set plays all the time for Jerron like we were last year. We're still doing some, but we're also giving our guys more freedom to go play and make plays. And, you know, you watch us against Alabama, and that's really how we built the lead, was just going and playing and leaving the game alone and letting our guys play. And so there's a fine line between, hey, we're going to run some stuff and execute some sets, but then at the same time, you have a guy like Shelton Mitchell at point guard. You know, he's really good in the open court. You got to let him go some. You can't just, if he's looking over at me every time, then he's not going to play as fast. And so, you know, we're running too big, so we're running big guys to the rim. We're playing with pace. And so, you know, again, if you're going to play with pace, you got to do it more frequently. You know, it's one of the reasons because North Carolina is really good at it because it's all they do. I mean, they're going make or miss. There's no, so you either go or you don't play. And when you go, you play as hard as you can, as long as you can, then you come out and there's another guy that goes. And that's part of what their system is so good at is, you know, they regularly have 9, 10, 11 guys down there that are excellent players. And so they just run them in waves and wear you down with their pressure defense and their pressure offense. And obviously it's a philosophy. You know, we're not quite at that level, but, you know, we're better than we've been in terms of being able to play faster for longer and do more things. And so we're trying to do that when we can.
Tar Heels are coming off a loss at Georgia Tech by 12 points. Is there anything you can glean from that, the way the Yellow Jackets played them? I know North Carolina had about 20 turnovers.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of, I mean, I think Georgia Tech played a great game and, you know, things like that happen. You know, I'm not worried about what other people do and how they react or this or, you know, North Carolina's going to be mad now or whatever. None of that matters to us. We're going to get a good team in here that's playing an ACC game. They're going to be ready to compete. We need to be ready to compete. It needs to be about what we're doing, how we're playing, our approach, and you know, that's what we're concerned with.
All right, thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.